buddy? No.
And when I see him, Jesse Jackson, his mom and all them there, and his mama, she pulled me to the side. And that's when I knew it was bad, because she telling me to be strong and all that. So I go in the room with him, and he laid up. And I just get right on the side of his head and just start talking to him. When he played Hit 'Em Up the song, I didn't like the song.
Did you feel like it was
I didn't
too
like
much?
it.
Right.
I didn't like it. Like, I didn't like this. Like, it wasn't like to me. Like, it was you buying more problems, cuz. Gangsters is everywhere. And I think when he got with us, he got to the mind state that we the and ain't nobody like us. Always people like us everywhere. Because he didn't say nothing to me the whole ride. And that's a 5-hour flight on a private plane.
Yeah.
So I walk up to him like maybe 3 hours into the flight, sit next to him, I'm like, you going to Vegas, cuz? And he turned on me like this and started talking to somebody else. So I'm like, all right. So I go in the back, put the blanket on my head, knife in my hand, fork in my hand. I think we was playing a video game, and we kept getting a whole bunch of calls and pages. Somebody told us to turn on the news, and we turned the news on, and we seen the little. I drove down there to the hospital, because I wanted to see him and make sure he was straight. I'm thinking that he was gonna make it. We all chilling.
Right.
We on the West Coast. Tupac brought Biggie with him. We rocking. We let Cub get down with us. We go in the back, smoke, chill, hang out. It's beautiful.
When did it go sideways?
Once Pac got, when he got, felt like they did it, but.
And this was when he got to New York.
Yeah.
Before he got in Vegas.
There you go, right there.
4 years, the world believed Tupac Shakur's story ended that night in Las Vegas. But fresh evidence, hidden testimonies, and startling insider admissions are rewriting everything we once accepted as truth. From Diddy's alleged connection to Snoop Dogg's rumored ties, the reality behind Tupac's disappearance is finally closing in on the music world. So grab your tea and listen closely, because this time, the story doesn't finish with his death. It starts with the secrets they fought to keep buried.
And now,
so he felt like someone from the West Coast was involved.
No.
Or from the
like,
East Coast, rather, excuse me.
Yes. And later information came out that the people that he thought did it had nothing to do with it.
So by him accusing people.
A few weeks ago now, Ice-T did an investigative TV special.
I seen that.
To find Biggie and Tupac's. And he spoke to Suge Knight, who alluded that Tupac may possibly be alive. What you think?
My homeboy is rest in peace. At the same time, I know people still want him to be here, and they love him so much to where his legacy, you know, it overwhelms everything. But at the same time, you got to know and understand when God takes you home, he takes you home, and that's where you are. You at home. I finally got a chance to meet Pac in 1993 at a rap party for Poetic Justice in LA. And on that night, Pac passed me my first. Yeah, that's right. Tupac is the one that got Snoop Dogg smoking.
For years, people have whispered that Diddy played a role in Tupac's murder. But now, it seems the truth is finally closing in. With Keef D locked up, the entire narrative is starting to unravel. Each day brings a fresh revelation in the investigation. Federal agents aren't just focusing on Diddy anymore. They're now shifting their gaze towards Snoop Dogg. And the streets can't stop talking about what might unfold next.
West Coast has had some tough losses. Is there anyone particularly that stands out to you as kind of the hardest one of those to swallow?
Nipsey and Nate Dogg. It just felt like they had so much to do. Same with Pac as well. I feel like he didn't even get a chance to finish. He 25. All of us that just flew back from New York. Suge, Pac, myself. They went to Vegas. I went to Warren G's because we had like a minor misunderstanding because that was at the time where I had spoke in New York about not having issues with Puffy and Big. That rubbed Pac the wrong way. The next day, we getting blown up on the pages, 919-111, and it's Suge, and he telling us that him and Pac got and get on out to Vegas. When I walked in, I could just feel like he wasn't even there. And I fainted. Then his mother got me up and walked me in the bathroom and had a conversation with me about being strong. So she gave us a moment for me to say some things to him as far as how much I love him, but I knew that that was going to be my last time speaking with him.
According to fans and even some investigators, Diddy's name has hovered around this case for years. Many believe his ties to several mysterious deaths in the industry can't just be brushed off as coincidence. And now, things are aligning in ways that are too clear to ignore. Keefe D., the very man arrested for Tupac's murder, outright claimed that Diddy was the one who gave the order. Yet for decades, nothing came of it. Diddy lived big, unscathed and unbothered, while everyone tied to him either vanished or went down. When someone once asked Keefe if Diddy owed him anything, he said Diddy absolutely should have looked out for him. He insisted he did time while Diddy prospered, left behind when Diddy reached the top. That alone made people question everything. But now, the tide's turning. Keefe D. isn't the only one speaking out. Those close to the story are beginning to open up. And one of those voices is none other than Snoop Dogg. Word is, Snoop's finally breaking his silence about what went down with Tupac. And all signs, once again, seem to circle right back to Diddy.
Did you see anybody? No.
And when I see him, Jesse Jackson, his mom and all them there, and his mama, she pulled me to the side. And that's when I knew it was bad, because she telling me to be strong. You know? So I go in the room with him, and he laid up. And I just get right on the side of his head and just start talking to him in his ear. Just talking to him. I don't even know what the was saying, but it was something to the effect of, like, I love you and I hope I didn't make you mad from the shit. I just thought I was doing what was right. It was some other stuff. Then as soon as I walked out of there, I went in the bathroom and I threw up. I just laid on the floor for like 30 minutes. His mama came in there and cleaned me up. His mama came in there and cleaned me up.
If you knew who Tupac, would you tell the police?
Absolutely not.
It doesn't end there either. Police have reportedly revisited old Snoop Dogg interviews and lyrics that hinted at deep tension between him and Tupac. Some fans even claim there's footage showing a real confrontation between the two. Those clips and verses have raised eyebrows among investigators, especially since certain lyrics now sound more like confessions than art. Then came the biggest twist of all, leaked reports suggesting Snoop had no idea he was being recorded when he spoke about Tupac's death.
We all chilling.
Right.
We on the West Coast. Tupac brought Biggie with him. We rocking. We let Cub get down with us. We go in the back, smoke, chill, hang out. It's beautiful.
When did it go sideways?
Once when he got felt like they did it, but
And this was when he got in New York.
yeah.
Before he got in Vegas.
There you go right there.
Yeah.
And now
So he felt like someone from the West Coast was involved.
no.
Or
Felt
from the
like-
East Coast, rather.
yes,
Excuse me.
Yes. And later information came out that the people that he thought did it had nothing to do with it.
So by him accusing people of it, it kind of set things off.
And then by him being bailed out by Death Row Records, and Death Row Records adding more gasoline to the fire, and him being a part of the most gangsterous label in the world that his opposition didn't want no issues with.
Right.
It only egged it on as opposed to, let's find a resolution. No, let's keep making it more of a problem.
And now, both Snoop and Diddy are reportedly under federal investigation in connection to Tupac's death. The case that's remained a mystery for nearly 30 years might finally be closing in on real answers. And if the whispers are true, some of hip-hop's most powerful names could be facing a downfall together.
I think we was playing a video game, and we kept getting a whole bunch of calls and pages. Somebody told us to turn on the news, and we turned the news on, and we seen the little. I drove down there to the hospital, because I wanted to see him, I'm saying, make sure he was straight. I'm thinking that he was gonna make it. I said a little prayer to him in his head, and held his hand and whispered at him, you know, said my piece with him. You know, he didn't have no consciousness, but I felt like my spirit and his spirit connected, and I felt like he got it.
After more than 2 decades of investigations, the Tupac case was suddenly declared closed, and fans across the world thought, finally, justice was coming for Tupac's family. Everyone was convinced they already knew who was behind it all. But when the announcement dropped, the shock was real. Police had arrested Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, a former gang member, for Tupac's assassination. But here's the catch. No one truly believes Keefe D. was the mastermind. Sure, he may have been involved, maybe even pulled the trigger, but someone else was calling the shots. And if you've been following this story, you already know who that someone is. Diddy. He had the motive, the money, and the reach to make it happen. And this wasn't the first time his name had surfaced in something dark. Even back in the 90s, when Keefe D was first questioned, he told investigators that Diddy called him after the hit, asking if it was their doing. Keefe said he stayed silent, but that single moment planted a seed that's grown into one of hip-hop's biggest and darkest mysteries.
So you guys are driving around, and then you hear these girls say, "Tupac, Tupac."
No, we coming up, what's the name? What's that, Flamingo? Yeah, I think that's Flamingo. We was coming up Flamingo and got to the light.
So out of curiosity, right? Let's say you was on the left side of the white Cadillac and you seen Tupac and Suge Knight. What would have been your response?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I don't know. But I would have had to take over.
For years, fans online have debated whether Keefe D was exaggerating his claims, but most agree on one thing. When it comes to Diddy, he's probably telling the truth. As one fan put it, every time something goes down around Puff, he walks away clean while everyone else takes the fall. But that raises the real question. Why would Keefe D keep talking if he knew it could land him behind bars? According to insiders, it all came down to ego. He wanted to cement his legacy as a street legend, to be remembered as part of one of hip-hop's biggest mysteries. That's why he started spilling details, in interviews, podcasts, and even a book. What Keefe didn't realize, though, was that the feds were patiently watching the whole time. They weren't playing checkers, they were playing chess. They let him talk himself into a corner, repeating his confession again and again, this time without the legal protection he once had. It was a 27-year setup, and he walked right into the trap.
Just leave it like that.
How do you feel about people that say and believe that you was actually the person that was the trigger man, you know, in the white Cadillac that Tupac and Suge Knight?
I'm glad they ain't the police. That's all I can say. I'm glad they ain't the police.
He also reportedly got jealous when he found out that FBI agent Greg Kading, the same man leading parts of the investigation, was writing his own book and producing a movie about the case. Keefe felt like people were stealing his story, the one he wanted credit for. So, in typical fashion, he decided to drop his own version, a so-called testimony filled with names, timelines, and bold claims. From that point on, investigators didn't have to chase him anymore. All they had to do was sit back and let him talk. Every podcast, every YouTube appearance, from Vlad TV to The Art of Dialogue, became another breadcrumb trail leading straight back to him. But that's not where the chaos stopped. Even Suge Knight played a role behind the scenes. Reports claim Suge shelled out $60,000 to Orlando Anderson so he'd testify that he wasn't attacking Suge at the MGM casino that night, but actually helping him. That testimony wasn't about truth. It was about survival, a calculated move to save Suge from a probation violation. Every corner of this case reeks of money, manipulation, and betrayal. And no matter how many times you zoom out, Diddy's name always ends up in the middle of it all.
What was your first interaction with Suge Knight?
Studio, walked in. He didn't know who I was. I didn't know who he was. I said some gang affiliate. He said some gang affiliate. And somebody made it known that we was together. And
I saw him, like, when you would go on the PJ with them, you'd, like, grab a blanket and, like, put, like, a knife, sleep like this.
that was after we was in New York. We had misunderstandings on the flight back to LA. I didn't feel comfortable around them for what they had did, as far as I didn't let my security ride with me. So
like, you can come with us, but you can't bring security?
it's just when they said it and the way it was delivered, I'm like, maybe this may be the day that they try me. So I felt like there was a fine line between being mad and being like, and I know about the stories of how they done certain people and this and that, but never me.
Yeah, what was it like just being around that energy during that time?
Fun.
Really?
Yeah, we lived dangerous. We didn't care. 21 was a dream.
Suge Knight eventually ended up behind bars, and this time, it was all on him. Even though tensions supposedly cooled after word spread that the $60,000 had settled things, his legal problems never stopped. Trouble followed him everywhere. One by one, the key players tied to the Tupac case either vanished, were silenced, or conveniently taken out of the picture. Before long, Keefe D was the last man standing. When Zip, Diddy's close associate, passed away, the tone shifted across the board. Suddenly, people who had stayed quiet for decades began rebranding their stories, writing books, sitting for interviews, and sharing exclusive memories about what really happened that night in Vegas. To the public, it looked like everyone had moved on. But behind the curtain, the feds never stopped watching. They were patient, calculating, waiting for the perfect moment to close in. And that's exactly why this case came roaring back to life after nearly 30 years. Because if the story had truly ended, there wouldn't be a fresh indictment for Keefe D or renewed attention on the others still entangled in that same deadly chain of events.
I ain't nobody, never did, ever nobody. They don't have no evidence against me. Came and put me in Las Vegas, proved that I orchestrated this.
You said the came from the back. Tupac.
I keep it for the code of the streets. It just came from the backseat, bro. Shouldn't have said nothing. And I'm innocent, man.
What happened was, Nas ain't got a lot of people with him, but he got a lot of people with him, if you know what I mean. And I'm seeing him and I'm knowing, because I'm a gangbang. I'm seeing with their hands on their I step away from him. Him and Nas right here, boom. Nas like, what's up, Pac? Man, I love your music, I'm a fan. That's what Pac say. If you a fan, I dissed you, Jay-Z, Biggie, he named off a gang of them. I dissed all you on the song. And if you a fan and you ain't got no beef, don't say nothing. And Nas said, I love you. I never diss you. And he shook his hand and he hugged him. And then when he walked off, Pac said, yeah, I punked that. In my mind, I was like, nah, he let us slide.
Now, investigators are reportedly zeroing in on Diddy and Snoop Dogg, even attempting to bring Mike Tyson in to testify. And that's not random. Tyson had his own tense history with Keefe D. At one point, Keefe allegedly warned Tyson that he wouldn't last 5 seconds against him, a chilling threat that reminded everyone how dangerous and deep this web truly runs. Things are getting messier by the day. The investigation has officially shifted to New York, with federal agents digging into Diddy's entire inner circle, his closest friends, the person who supposedly wrote the check, and even Aaliyah's former manager. Reports claim that the $1 million bounty on Tupac's head may have been funneled through a fake record label to cover the money trail. They didn't just plan the hit, they allegedly tried to erase every trace of it. According to investigators, the getaway car was a rental that was repainted white right after the shooting to destroy evidence. And through it all, Keefe D just couldn't stay quiet. He kept running his mouth, interviews, podcasts, books, bragging about his street legacy, not realizing every word was strengthening the federal case against him. At one point, Keefe even claimed Diddy paid him around $1 million to take out Tupac, but admitted he never saw the money. He said Diddy sent the cash through a middleman who used it to open a nightclub instead of paying up. And all of that, every statement, every boast, is on record. Yet for years, authorities didn't move on Diddy, and people started asking the obvious question: why? How could one of the most powerful men in music remain untouched when so much smoke pointed in his direction? Officials kept repeating the same line: they didn't have enough evidence, that Keefe D's word alone wasn't solid. But now, rumor has it they finally do. And it's coming straight from one of rap's biggest icons, Snoop Dogg.
About the other one as well. Where do you stand with what happened with Tupac? Do you think Biggie was a part of it? You think Puff was a part of it?
I never heard Puff say anything about doing anything to Tupac or Suge.
Right.
I've heard people around Puff say things about that, but I never. Came back downstairs, he was heated. He said, yo, Gene, I got 126 employees, and these people depend on me for their livelihoods. If these white folks thought or they would think that I had anything to do with any kind of, they wasn't with me, and they not gonna with me. He said, I'm a businessman. I'm about making money, but something gotta change. I don't give a if Pac gotta die, Big gotta die, or Suge Knight go to jail. Something's gotta change. And he took upstairs, he turned around and walked back upstairs. And it didn't dawn on me what he said. And then my man looked at me and Bun was like, yo, that's big.
The clues were always right there, hiding in plain sight. For decades, fans have dissected Tupac's Machiavelli album, especially that haunting subtitle, The 7 Day Theory, and the line, Exit Tupac, Enter Machiavelli. Some even pointed out that rearranging Machiavelli spells "am alive." For years, people brushed it off as coincidence. But what if it wasn't? What if it was a message, a coded farewell from someone who mastered deception, survival, and reinvention? If Gene Deal's story holds any truth, that album wasn't a goodbye. It was a blueprint. Then came the strange inconsistencies. The coroner's report listed Tupac as 6 feet, 215 pounds, but everyone knew he was smaller. The autopsy photos looked suspicious, and the cremator who handled his body retired and disappeared right after. Some claim he was paid off. Others think the body wasn't even Tupac's. And then came Michael Nice, a former security officer who claimed he helped smuggle Tupac out after a hit was ordered. He said Fidel Castro himself approved it, arranging a body swap while Tupac was secretly flown out of the U.S. with Black Panthers guarding him. Nice even swore Tupac co-piloted the plane, before disappearing for good. Days later, Nice turned up dead. Coincidence? Or just another cover-up? Even now, the sightings haven't stopped. In Havana, locals whisper about a man in a bandana and shades, beard thicker, build heavier, but with the same unmistakable eyes. One witness said, "No one's been arrested because Tupac ain't gone. He's somewhere smoking a Cuban cigar." And honestly, the deeper you go, the less this feels like a murder case and the more it sounds like a masterpiece of escape still unfolding. Even Tupac's mother once said her son chose to leave quietly. Was that just poetic grief, or a quiet confession that he walked away? His posthumous albums don't sound like old archives either. They sound alive, urgent, as if his voice never left us. It all comes full circle with Gene Deal's bombshell claim that Tupac saw the setup coming. He knew the price of staying independent in a game run by powerful moguls. So, he flipped the script, turning Machiavelli into his ultimate exit plan. Gene believes Tupac didn't die in Vegas. He disappeared, rebuilding his life in silence, waiting for the perfect time to expose the ones who betrayed him.